Hello viewers, Forza Motorsport 7 is probably a game you thought was long dead, but no. Here we're going to jump back into the carnage and chaos of the multiplayer servers that we all know and love. So here we are at Watkins Glen, heading down towards turn number 1. Let's see what all manner of depravity will kick off here. As we head through the apex, everyone is in the same car, and we're all in the same bundle it seems. As we exit the corner, on the straight, lots of cars all getting collected there. And just really, what a great way to kick things off once again in the Forza scene. The next game is coming out next year, we're not too far away actually. And of course, if you're excited about that, get yourself subbed because I'm going to be playing it to death. And hopefully not actual death. It's just a matter of speech really, isn't it? Right, heading down here in towards the boot section of Watkins Glen around the outside. Well, maybe not. He's having none of it. But it wouldn't be long before he'd end up in the wall, as you can see. As I kind of just showed no mercy in backing out. But why would I? Into this corner, which I don't know the name of. It's just a corner really, isn't it? Look at that. Up the inside. Nice move. Then not long after, he's going to come straight back in the inside, that's not how you say it, up the inside, and retake the position. But as we round out the penultimate corner here, so this sweeping left, and heading up towards the final corner, I'm just gonna just stop it here. This is a disclaimer that what you're about to see is pure filth. So if we replay, and you can see here a horrific lunge, and then Forza sticky physics mean that we both get kind of stuck together up against the wall, and that was just, well, it was just I mean, let's just stop it there. That was just utter filth, pure and utter disgrace to motorsport really, and I'm really sorry about that. So we've ended the, oh goodness me, another crash down the inside, smacking into the back of that Panda Hacks, and that's my first penalty back in the game. A 0.25 for smacking into the back of my fellow driver. This was not a very clean looking move, was it? Not a good attempt at all. But we're going to try it again here, down the inside. Let's go. Boom. Nice move. Love it. And we've reclaimed 12th place. We really are on a roll here. Top 12, ladies and gentlemen. Can we go for a top 11 up against Mac Attack 1955? You bet I can. Late on the brakes, up the inside, hit the apex. Don't know where he's going, but he's not going round the corner. And that's P11. Now, this was a really weird moment. A little bit later on in the race, lap number 3. Now, you see this guy, this guy is definitely ghosted, but apparently not. I still managed to spin him out. Not entirely sure what happened there, but he definitely looked ghosted to me. But, well, clearly he wasn't. And here we are now into the top 10 of all places. Looking up the inside, this seemed to be a favourite spot of mine for going for moves, as you can tell. And boom, up the inside we go. This was actually pretty good racing between the pair of us here, as we leave each other space. Come through here side by side, go deep, try to run him around the outside, and it's going to work. Good respect shown and good driving, I think, between the pair of us. Quite enjoyable little race, to be fair. Once it all settled down beyond the carnage of lap 1 and lap 2 and lap 3, it was actually okay. And actually getting a penalty there at the death, crossing the line P9. Well, we moved to this race at Prague, and in this very bouncy Ferrari, and this race really reminded me just how sort of trampoline-esque the cars feel in Forza. They do bounce quite a lot, and especially these old classic road cars. Now, through turn 1, we get through there unscathed, not like that guy. Up into P5. Now, trying to mind the track limits here. Not quite doing that, though, it must be said, on the second apex. Getting ourselves a quarter of a second penalty. Onto the infamous Bridge of Death, which has claimed many lives on this game. And we're going to whip it forward a little bit here towards the end of this lap. because this is where my race truly unravelled, as we head through this very peculiar corner, as we then hurtle downhill, and I misjudge it quite grossly here, slamming into the wall, flipping upwards, and getting collected. Now here, look at this, boom, I get bumped, then luckily I just managed to avoid that incident, and out of all of that I actually gained a position, would you believe. Now look at this, right, start of lap number 3. Now this is an example of how to take a corner perfectly. I can't really get any closer to this apex, look at this, right, boom, one more pixel to the right and I'm dead. But that's obviously a cut track penalty, quite clearly. So just taking the apex by this game's standards is actually, sorry, you can't do that. That's actually illegal, so you can't do that. Sorry, I'm going to penalise you for that. So through there, I was not really conscious of the of the track limits. I was just cutting it. 3.7 second penalty, but I wasn't too bothered, to be honest. I finished the race in P4. And once those penalties were factored in, it was P6, would you believe? But we move on towards this race. The Cathedral of Chaos. The Monza Mayhem circuit. Let's go. As we then head towards turn number 1. Now, this is a good example of, to put it blindly, to put it lightly, bad sportsmanship. As I brake very late and turn it into a bowling alley. But the game decided that that was no penalty and just a minor cut track penalty. So quite clearly there I did actually nothing wrong. And you know, anyone who knows anything about motorsport knows that I was the cleanest driver on the grid there through turn 1. Did nothing wrong really. Everyone else just braked too early and got in the way. It's their fault. Now on lap 2 I quite evidently missed my braking point for turn 1, as you can see. Just completely forgot that there was a corner, just going right through the chicane, getting myself an 11-second penalty and actually getting disqualified from the race, and I got booted out of the server. Such was my indiscretion. Now I decided to join an S-Class server, and these were, you know, always my favourites as we head back to Rio. Now this is a blast from the past, some true nostalgia coming through now, Rio, because let's not forget that Forza 7 is 5 years old now. It's not a young game anymore, it's 5 years old. And, you know, it's been a while. We are going to have a new Forza Motorsport, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Especially if it can provide anything like the entertainment that Forza 7 has provided, and is providing to me right now, like this Audi going flying in out of nowhere, this Porsche and Lambo getting quite curiously stuck together. Now we're going to skip forward a lap here. I'm in P6, naturally gravitated to my natural habitat, of course, through the tunnel. On the exit, we're coming up towards this BMW M4. I'm going to try and pick a way through, but it's not easy on this narrow section of the track. But it is easy when they misjudge it like this. The car goes very light on him, and we're going to quite confidently go through. There was a car facing the other way. It was a McLaren F1, thankfully ghosted out just in time before we had a catastrophic collision. I'm up in P4, hurtling towards the final couple of corners on the track, up against the Celine S7, a staple of S-Class, it must be said. A real go-to for any S-Class aficionados out there. But moving forward, the S7 wasn't in such good spirits here as we collide with him, and well, that says it all really, as we're going to try and get past him. As we do, cars behind also clipping that barrier. So that barrier, the Brazilian barrier here, really getting very popular amongst the Forza 7 population. I managed to bring this one home with a podium, which is pretty good. But we move on to Homestead Miami, a track again, a blast from the past. But you know, we got to mention here this guy who asked for a special mention in the next video for absolutely no reason. So no problem at all, JH Kizzle. You've always been an important person to me, and you know, here's your shout out. But as we jump into this race, we're going to take a look behind. There's a guy in a truck. You know what that means, right? We all know what's about to happen at turn 1. As we leave the grid, starting just inside the top 10. McLaren F1 there with a good start. And as we hit the anchors in towards the first corner, I'm just going to pause it there. And I think this gives a good idea of the impending doom that I'm about to meet. So yes, in classic Forza style, getting absolutely wiped out by a random truck. It's just part of the course really, isn't it? And we managed to shove him wide there. And then as you come around this corner, in classic Forza style, there's a Porsche just doing tumble turn, as you do. And hopefully I'm out of range here of the truck into this next hairpin, and thankfully I am. Good news. And we progress a lap forward here. This was actually quite a good little battle. I wasn't really close enough to battle for the top 10 after those big incidents on turn 1, lap 1. Look at this little drift around the outside of the Mustang, trying it. And it's a drag race between myself, the Mustang, and the S7's going to get in on the act here. So it's a three-way drag race. Final lap of the race. I'm on the outside. So I need to try and get the old switcheroo in operation here. And we're going to pull it off to perfection. Nice little move. Get it done. But then the Mustang's going to come straight back at me. It's going to be a close finish. But I am just about going to finish ahead. And here we enter Indianapolis, the home of motorsport in the United States and perhaps the world, but it is also the home of quite an aggressive turn 1, as we're about to find out. As we hit the anchors once more in towards the first corner, let's slow this one down and take a look behind at the truck, who has no regard for life as he comes flying in, murdering many of my opponents. And, well, I mean, I'm sure he's going to get locked up for many years for that. As we're trying to pull away here in the noble M200 up against, once more, the S7. It seems to be, as I've said already, the go-to car in S-Class. Lots of people using it. And I must say that there was actually still plenty of very fast players playing this game. Yes, there is a guy in a truck killing people indiscriminately, but there were also lots of very fast guys, and it seems as though, you know, 5 years on from this game's release, that you still have the chance to have a good race, and there's still people playing the game, which was good to see, to be honest. And this race was quite close. There was a guy driving backwards called Squiggly Bob or something, just standard Forza really, and then a couple of laps later, finishing about 2 seconds behind the leader, so not too bad of a race. We jump over to Yas Marina for this final race, and I tried to avoid the truck, but I failed graciously. As you can see here, he goes flying into the back of me. This guy really got an eyeful there. He's like, what the hell are you doing? What on earth are you doing in this corner, mate? Well, I got rammed, my friend. And here we have a great moment up against the shameful rammer, heading down towards the chicane that doesn't actually exist anymore. As I juke him out, boom, into the wall you go. And, well, let's call that 1-1, at least in this race. Gave us a little bit of a show here into this corner. That was that lap. Then he waited for me again, did another one. And then another one. So thank you for that. That was really cool. But that is pretty much the end of this one. Let me know if you want to see more Forza in the run-up to the next Forza, which is coming out next year. This was actually quite fun. I hope you found it fun. Anyway, have a nice day. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.